Hey, this is me, B, and you are listening to the sounds of my He Said, She Said song. I don't have a name for it. This is He Said on IntellectualRadio.com. And this episode is brought to you by Allstate. You're in good hands with Allstate, whether you need auto, home, or life insurance. You can call Sal, tell Sal I sent you. Let him give you a quote. See if maybe he can lower some rates for you. That number is 708-599-5100, 708-599-5100. And also, paparazzi jewelry, everything's $5. The necklace I have on, the beautiful necklace on the table that come with earrings, everything is only $5. It's $5 holla, okay? So you can check that out. Check out my website, wonderfulbling.com, wonderfulbling.com. And get a nice little jewelry set. The Sweetest Day is coming up. I think somebody told me. I don't know if you celebrate, whether you celebrate or not, you can get a necklace. We have things for men as well. They did say that. I'll make that a whole nother show, whether Sweetest Day is for the guy or for the girl. Do you celebrate? Maybe that'll be next week. So I think next week may be Sweetest Day. I don't know. Go wonderfulbling.com and check out the jewelry. Everything's $5. Spell it. Wonderful. Like my name, Wanda. Wanda. Do I know how to spell it? WANDAFUL. Bling. BLING.com. Check it out. And today I have with me my friends. You guys, are you on He Said, She Said? Are you? You should be. Go to the group. He Said, She Said. Join the group. Conversations we're going to have today are like the ones we have every day in our group. We learn a lot. We fight, we bicker. We're a little family up in there. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But we learning is probably the biggest thing that we do, helping each other communicate. So I brought to you our life coach, our own certified life coach in He Said, She Said, James Borche.
What's up? What's up, everybody?
Now, everybody, you have your own fan club, Miss Anna Nicole.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan.
You have your own fan club. When you have requested guests, when they're like, can you have so-and-so on? Can you have so-and-so? You got to go dig them out and say, can you please come on? Because they want you here. I have none other than Anna Nicole. Go to the group. Anna Nicole Lacey. She's here. No, you can learn a lot from her. Very intelligent woman. Beauty and brains. That's what I like to bring you, the beauty and brains. And we have a few more people coming today. They're not here yet. You know, the marathon, the people out there blocking the streets running.
They're out there watching the game.
Watching the game. I don't even know what game is on. I'm not a game watcher. But there is a game going on. My little baby is out in the rain playing football. The Blue Island Untouchables are playing the Alsa Falcons. Go Blue Island. They're undefeated. The juniors out there. So my little number 10, make sure you win. No, just have fun. What do they say? Just have fun. No, I
make sure you win.
Make sure you win. They say I'm a competitive sport player. We ain't out there for the fun of it.
Not in the rain.
Not in the rain.
Make sure you win.
Make sure you win. And so today's topic is how to know if you're in a relationship with the narcissist. What does that look like? Like I said, share the broadcast for me. I haven't shared it. I'm going to share it myself. Wait a minute.
Man.
I think we're going to share it myself. How do you know that? Now, this has been the most requested topic I've ever had. And it hasn't been requested recently. Ongoing, people will inbox me on Facebook, which you can do the same thing if you have a topic idea and say, could you talk about narcissists? And I was like, and I've hesitated only because I didn't feel I had a lot of knowledge on narcissism. I knew I'd never dated one or been with one. So I was like, I don't want to necessarily, I knew I'd need to do some research. I need to do my homework to come to the table with this conversation. But the time was right. I had some experts to come on with me and everything aligned where I could bring them on board. So, and I did my research then. I said, okay, I got to do some homework because I got the heavy hitters coming. So I got to know it. So we're talking about.
If I'm quiet today, y'all, that's because Anna Nicole here.
He's a little starstruck.
Got my hands. So
some people got their Beyonce, their Halle Berrys. And these brainiacs, they chase the brains with the beauty. So when you're looking for that, then you got Anna Nicole. They like, yeah, she's here.
Wait, what they
never
do?
quiet. Fan yourself. Fan yourself. He just joking. He ain't joking. He telling the truth. You know, anytime when people joke, I'm just being serious right now. So thank you for sharing it. Thank you, everybody who's sharing this. I really, really, really do appreciate it. So we're going to talk about this. Have
Man.
you ever? So when I started reading what a narcissist was and the signs to know if you're with a narcissist, I was like, oh, I know people. And then someone put Tucson, who may show up to here today. We hope that he does. He said that everybody has a little bit of narcissism in them. And so when I read like what are the 10 signs of if you're a narcissist, I was like, okay, well, number two. That's just number two. Okay,
Everybody
four.
can check at least one or
Two
two
and
of the boxes.
four.
Yeah.
But I'm not a narcissist. That I'm not. But I do resemble a couple. I don't like waiting in line. So let's start off. I'm going to start off with the definition of a narcissist. So I always like to start off with the basic of the conversation. What is a narcissist? Simply, a narcissist is a person who has an excessive interest in or an admiration of themselves. Excessive is the operative word.
What's it? Because I think I'm fine.
Excessive.
Oh, okay.
Excessive.
Well,
But go then to the 10 signs that you're a narcissist. Number one, a conversation hoarder. The narcissist loves to talk about him or herself and doesn't give you a chance to take part in a two-way conversation. You struggle to have your views and feelings heard. When you do get to a word in, is not in agreement with the narcissist, your comments are likely to be corrected, dismissed, or ignored.
Oh, yeah. All of the above.
Yes. So that's number two, a conversation interrupter. While many people have the poor communication habit of interrupting others, the narcissist interrupts and quickly switches the focus back to herself or himself. He shows little genuine interest in you. Rule breaker. The narcissist enjoys getting away with violating rules and social norms, such as cutting in line, chronic under tipping. Some will over tip to show off, stealing office supplies, breaking multiple appointments, or disobeying traffic laws. Number four, boundary violators. Shows wanton disregard for other people's thoughts, feelings, possessions, and physical space. Oversteps and uses others without consideration or sensitivity. Borrows items or money without returning. Breaks promises and obligations repeatedly. Shows little remorse and blames the victim for one's own lack of respect.
Also known as gaslighting. We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Gaslighting. Write that down because I don't know what gaslighting is. And I want to get to that because gaslighting, I never heard of, don't know what that is. We'll talk about that. False image projection. Many narcissists like to do things to impress others by making themselves look good externally. The trophy complex can exhibit itself physically, romantically, sexually, socially, religiously, financially, materially, professionally, academically, or culturally. In these situations, the narcissist people object status and or accomplishments to represent the self, substituting for the perceived inadequate real self.
Yes.
Whoa. These grandstanding merit badges are often exaggerated.
Often.
Flashback.
Often. That's what I was talking about on the last show. She lied. He lied.
Now, these are coming from Psychology Today. So just to give them, these are where these 10 signs come from. Number 6 is entitlement. Narcissists often expect preferential treatment from others. They expect others to cater, often instantly to their needs, without being considerate in return. In their mindset, the world revolves around them. They're charmers. Narcissists can be very charismatic. Thank you. And persuasive when they're interested in you for their own gratification. They make you feel very special and wanted. However, once they lose interest in you, most likely after they've gotten what they want or become bored, they may drop you without a second thought.
That's called love bombing.
I love Anna Nicole's like, so now we got gaslighting. It was the bombing. What was that? Love bombing. Love bombing. Yeah, I wish I had the sound effect. Yeah, I wish I would have, because I would give the sound effect. I do have them here. Okay, maybe I have to pull up some sound effects. Grandiose personality, thinking of oneself as a hero or heroine, a prince or princess, or one of a kind special person. Some narcissists have an exaggerated sense of self-importance, believing that others cannot live or survive without his or her magnificent contribution.
Magnificent contribution. Boy, turn us loose, right? Turn us loose. Turn us loose, Wanda.
We're ready. When can we speak?
Turn us loose.
Number 9, negative emotions. Many narcissists enjoy spreading and arousing negative emotions to gain attention, feel powerful, and keep you insecure and off balance. They are easily upset at any real or perceived slights or inattentiveness. They may throw a tantrum if you disagree with their views or fail to meet their expectations. They are extremely sensitive to criticism and typically respond with heated arguments. Fight or cold detachment flight. On the other hand, narcissists are often quick to judge, criticize, ridicule, and blame you. Some narcissists are emotionally abusive by making you feel inferior. They boost their fragile ego and feel better about themselves.
That's called narcissistic rage.
Yep.
And then number 10, manipulation, using others as an extension of self, making decisions for others to suit one's own needs. The narcissist may use his or her romantic partner, child, friend, or colleague to meet unreasonable self-serving needs, fulfill unrealized dreams, or cover up self-perceived inadequacies and flaws. And one thing I noticed was that I kept judging whether I had been around a narcissist or known a narcissist in a romantic sense. And that's why I said, well, I don't know much about this. But as I read it, I was like, oh, yes, I've worked with them. So then you realize, okay. I have to stop thinking of just in romantic situations, that this comes out often with colleagues, and just people you know in general. So it's time to unleash. They're ready. It's time to unleash. And please, thank you again, everybody who's chiming in on Facebook. You can also call in 708-223-8953, 708-223-8953 if you'd like to join in the conversation. Or here, if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spreaker, you can call in. And then our Facebook viewers, please, you can chime in right on Facebook and we'll respond to your comments as we go along. So
how many can you check off that list on Facebook? How many can you check off the list of 10 that Wanda just read?
It really made me say, oh my gosh, I work with I know someone with every single one. Not just one,
then that's
but every
narcissistic personality disorder.
Single one. And I was about to say something, but I shouldn't say it because this is on the World Wide Web.
Did she give the whole www, the worldwide?
I'm gonna say it.
Don't do it.
I've actually seen people do shows on this, then go, oh wait, but aren't you? Now, when I read that, I was like, so it made me realize: do people really not realize it in themselves?
Yes.
No, most people don't recognize it.
Most people don't recognize it. They don't.
Why is that?
Because they can't. One of the things that makes a narcissist, it's very difficult to see yourself in a negative light.
Oh,
yes. You're not human. You're grandiose.
Right.
so
of course this can't be you.
This can't be me.
But I will back up and say, in order to be diagnosed, you have to go to a doctor or somebody who's licensed to diagnose you, and you have to have at least 5 of those 10.
Yes.
Oh, is that what makes it? Well, let's talk about then, and I'm going to read this, not to keep reading off lists to you
my
guys.
friend told me make sure we say that disclaimer.
Yes. Disclaim that.
Right. We don't know we're not doctors. Go see, you can go to Journey to Wholeness. They have practitioners and doctors, but probably go to a real, what do they call it? Clinical psychologist.
Yeah, psychologist, psychiatrist, therapist. Go to all of the above. Go to.
If you want help, though, you have to they don't realize they need help.
So most narcissists don't seek help for this because they don't think that they're narcissists. But most narcissists, 50 to 75% of narcissists are men. Let's talk about that.
That's true.
50 to 75%
of narcissists are men.
Are men.
I wonder why that is. So
that's a societal thing, I think.
Yes.
Interesting. That's an interesting take on that. And I probably will start arguments when we get to this feed of Facebook viewers. And thank you, everybody who's sharing it. I really do appreciate it. But I'm going to go real quick into so we can blend the conversations. 10 signs you might be a narcissist. I won't read all but these are the ones then that when someone said that, could you be one? Or everyone has signs of it. I said, well, let me see. Do I have some of these? And I was like, oh, okay, I definitely. I'm not number one, though. You like to be the center of attention. Even though I do things like this, I don't like being the center of attention. But I'm just going to read through these. I won't give my commentaries. You like to be the center of attention. Is one. You have a habit of giving unsolicited advice. Sometimes the show may be that.
Your opinion is important, and it's right.
Right. It says, sure, you're trying to be helpful by recommending the best restaurants in Portland or sharing your wisdom on parenting. through the terrible twos, but you are also seizing an opportunity to demonstrate your superior knowledge and insight.
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes do that. Forget y'all. No, I'm not trying not to do it unsolicited. If you ask, I'm gonna tell you. Okay, that's funny. You detest waiting in line. I hate waiting in line, and you get frustrated if someone doesn't respond to your voicemail right away. That I don't care. On some level, you feel you deserve special treatment, and whether you're amongst friends or at the DMV. Okay, I didn't read all that. No, I don't. I wait. You're my turn. Let me stop giving my commentary. I'm just going to read these. Your ambition knows no bounds. It's one thing to shoot for the stars and then work your butt off to get there. It's quite another to believe you are destined for greatness. The type of grandiose assumption is a classic symptom of narcissists. You know how to turn on the charm that we read on the other one as well, how to tell you're in a relationship with one. You've got a knack of making other people feel important. Your relationships probably move quickly, like the intoxicating whirlwind romances of storybooks. But all the admiration you shower on that person is part of an unspoken deal. You expect him to make you feel just as attractive and intelligent. The minute he questions or criticizes you, the gig is up and he is sent swiftly from the pedestal to the trash heap. You are the competitive type. In a narcissist worldview, there are winners.
These are all guys.
And the narcissist needs to win a majority of times, you say. A lot of people, as I read these, I thought of number 45 because people say that he's a narcissist. And I could check him off every single one on this list. If I went through...
Right, exactly.
That he wants to be the center of attention. He gives advice. He feels that he should come first in everything. His ambition knows no bounds. Charmer to some, competitive, definitely.
But see, this is what society teaches men is that masculinity looks
Absolutely.
like.
So Anna Nicole mentioned that society may have caused that rise in men over women, and if society is saying you have to be this and that to be a manly man,
that is toxic masculinity. What I've recently learned after studying the difference between masculinity and femininity, men will be really surprised at what masculinity really looks like, because masculinity is really just if I could just wrap it up into a short sentence, it's a calming, steady, unmovable presence. That's masculinity.
Say that again.
Calming, steady, unmovable, and I might add consistent presence.
Is masculinity.
That's what mass is. It's just a calming, steady, unmovable, consistent presence. And this is what a lot of homes are missing.
Absolutely.
They're missing true masculine energy in the home. Someone who is calming. So in the face of the chaos, you know that when I go see daddy, it's gonna be calming presence. We're not gonna get up, we're not gonna get too high, we're not gonna get too low. That is true. That is the essence. There's more to it. That's the essence of true masculine energy. Not I always gotta know. People who
being the man, I have to have the answer.
I gotta have the answer. People who are truly in touch with their masculine energy, one of the first things you know is you don't know. That's one of the first things you learn. When you really start to learn and get wise, the more you seek knowledge, the more you realize I don't have enough knowledge.
Absolutely true. Absolutely.
I don't know. Man, I thought I knew it. As soon as you get to the place where you're like, okay, now I understand. You realize there's more to this. That's one of the things about men who are really into their masculine energy. They're really calming. You'll see a guy who's into his who is really in touch with his masculine energy, while everybody else is panicked. You look to the side, and this person is tying a rope. Let's say the house is burning down. Everybody, what are we gonna do? Tying a rope. Open the window, and now we got a way out. I didn't say a word.
Sure.
Some of our comments are, hello, Jay Shan. He says, let your yes be yes. I cannot see today.
And
let your yes be yes and let your no be no. Agreed. Jay Shan also said, I agree. It's societal. Masculinity has been, I can't see.
It's been likened to what's on that list, to much of what's on the list that you read. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So they teach men that's what you're supposed to do.
And Daryl Wallace said, I can't check any of the definition off the list. Extreme behavior.
He's saying that the
called
behavior,
extreme.
if we calling it extreme behavior, that he can't check any of this off the list. But for some, it's just this behavior.
Right. It didn't say extreme.
Yeah, it's this behavior.
And like you mentioned that 5 or more off the list, because I couldn't check off when I read the more intense. I don't like waiting in line, but I'm also not going to feel like I need to go get in front either. I'm not going to go walk up front and say, "Excuse me, I know because my child is waiting," and you go, "I'm waiting too." No, I'll wait. I just don't like it. It's a difference of thinking I should be up front.
There's a difference because
Yes.
your example has empathy in that.
Empathy.
Because you understand that other people are also waiting. The person with the narcissist personality is like, I don't care about none of these people or what they got going on. I'm ready to go, so I need to go.
They cannot display empathy. They do not have it. They don't know how, and they don't even know that they don't have it.
No.
That is one of the key characteristics of narcissism. No, there's a complete and utter, I can't stress this enough, complete and utter lack of empathy.
Absolutely.
Now, someone told me that empaths are drawn to narcissists. Is that true?
That is.
I believe that to be true.
That is very true. That is very true. Empaths are drawn.
Why?
Oh,
because
gosh.
if you're a healer, you're drawn to sick people, right? Or sick people are going to be drawn to you. So people always say, you are a reflection of who you attract. And I don't always believe that's true. If I am a healer, I am going to attract sick people. That doesn't mean that I'm supposed to keep them in that space with me.
Right.
I can heal you from afar without letting you damage me. That's the part that you got to learn.
I think the friends I've known who have experienced this are the ones who like to fix things and be there for people and solve problems. They love to be needed.
From afar.
I don't want to say it in a negative thing.
That might be a vulnerable narcissist. So they put the narcissistic personality disorder is characterized in 2 different places. One is the grandiose narcissism. Mm-hmm. And that's the one with this astronomical view of oneself and one's self-importance. But then you have the vulnerable narcissist. Yeah. A vulnerable narcissist is one who feels the opposite about himself, however, puts on a facade to make you think that this is who I am. Yes. But how you tell the difference between a vulnerable narcissist and a grandiose narcissist is the vulnerable narcissist is really triggered by rejection, criticism, abandonment. Really, the moment you reject a vulnerable narcissist, then all hell breaks loose.
This is true. I've had somebody say this to me because I'm an empath. And he said to me, "So why are you leaving me? You like projects. Why you just won't fix me?" It's like, "Oh, brother, check, please."
Check,
but
please.
He meant it and he was serious. And any hint of rejection flipped him out. So that's when you get into their narcissist rage and they attack. And this is when people get really hurt because they are upset at the thought that you have rejected them in any way. You slighted them in any way. They lash out.
So every wall. So here's how you know. Every nice thing they do, every wall they put up is to avoid rejection. Mm-hmm. The vulnerable narcissist cannot feel vulnerable. They do not. They run as hard as they can from vulnerability. They put up every wall they could possibly put up to avoid ever being vulnerable. Because the moment they are vulnerable, they have fear that they will be rejected, taken advantage of, mistreated, or worse, abandoned. So when you leave a vulnerable narcissist to his or her own devices, they go crazy.
Yes.
Wow. So another thing I didn't realize is there are different types of narcissists. Yes. So there's 4 different types. You guys brought one up, the vulnerable narcissists. These people are generally very sensitive and tend to be quiet and shy by nature, yet to disguise their chronic feelings of self-hatred and unworthiness. Mm-hmm. Then we have the invulnerable narcissist. These people reflect the traditional image of the narcissist, that of a highly self-confident person, cold and unempathetic person.
That's the grandiose narcissist.
That's and then the where I had invulnerable.
Those are the main 2. So you got vulnerable and vulnerable.
The amorous narcissist.
Those are the subtypes.
Subtypes. Both vulnerable and invulnerable narcissist personality types can be split down into the following. Oh, this is deeper than I thought.
Yeah. So everybody has some of the characteristics of narcissism. Everybody has.
Because their personality characteristics.
Right. Their personality characteristics. Where you know you are getting into the disorder so to speak, for lack of a better word, where you're getting off the charts is the lack of empathy. They do not really care about anybody else. So now here's where narcissists get people. They're real nice.
They're charming. They love bomb you.
They're charming, but they're charming for a reason.
Yes.
Everything, it's like they play chess.
Everything is manipulative.
Everything is manipulative. They're charming to you. So for example, here's what a narcissist would do. Oh, I love your hair. And then wait. And if she don't say, I love your suit, I love something back.
It's a problem.
Okay. I see how this is. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Instead of just, I love your hair. Next.
Right. But it's a calculated move.
It's all calculated because I'm trying to get my needs met as a narcissist. And so all conversations, all relationships, all business transactions are designed to get my needs met. Yeah. I don't even care about what your needs are. No. But I will pretend to care.
Absolutely.
So I can get my needs met.
So when I ask you when I tell you I need this from you or I want this from you, you should be more than willing because I told you have nice hair.
Right.
I mean, that's the one I know.
You up, and I've allowed you to be next to me. Like I'm giving you
right.
I've
been so nice to you. And now when I tell you that I need you to stand here all day, well, you're not going to do that? Now, as nice as I am to you.
Now, our society allows, almost pushes narcissistic relationships. That's the essence of transactional relationships. I am doing this for you, therefore, and if there is ever a therefore, it was not genuine.
Right.
I am doing this for you, therefore, do this for me. That is the beginning of impetus of narcissism.
So Daryl says, I've read up on this topic a little bit and noticed that there is really no concrete definition. I think the jury is still out. I read that people that take a lot of selfies are narcissistic.
No, that's definitely a definition. If you look at the DSM-5, there's a clinical definition of narcissistic personality disorder. So you might not find it on Facebook groups, but there's a clinical definition.
You might not be able to Google it, but it's in the Journal of Psychology and things like that. So there is a clinical definition. But what we have to understand is there is a difference between narcissistic traits and characteristics and narcissistic personality disorder.
So I will give you the definition of the narcissistic personality disorder, which some of these, when there are a lot of signs of it, but some of them are
grandiose sense of oneself with a lack of empathy.
Right. It boils down to just that.
Grandiose sense of oneself with a lack of empathy.
And I think people start going, well, looking at themselves, well, I do. The part about it is with the lack of empathy and how grandiose it is. I mean, we look at our I hate to call him our president, the president, and see the difference a little bit of having that everything should be my way and just can't hear what you're saying. I think he's a good example of that. But you mentioned selfies, Daryl, and that the selfies, like we said, on that chart, everyone may resemble somewhere on that chart, but if you have 8 out of 10, that's when you may be going towards a disorder, when you have more than 5 and it's how you do it. Because myself, I read this and said, well, I do that. But then when I read further, like I said, with the standing in line, I don't like waiting. But also at the same time, I'm not going to go move and tell people to move so I can get to the front. So yes, there's is it levels to it, I should say, or is there?
They're all personality traits. So we all have a personality. So we're all going to have some of these traits. It's when you have a bunch of them together and you don't have the empathy for other people and you feel like you are the most important person in any room you've ever walked into.
That's a disorder. Here's how you can start to tell if you're in a conversation with a narcissist. Have you ever sat down and talked to somebody and you said something like, hey, how was your day? And you said, my day was great, da 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 da. My day was fantastic. I've done this and I've done that and I did this and I did that. And girl, you should know when I did that. And da 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 da. All right, see you later.
Yes.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Typically in conversations, one wants to know how the other person is doing.
Yes.
A narcissist could care less. And they don't realize they could care less. They want you to ask how they're doing. when you start studying this thing and you start watching people, you just start chuckling like, wow.
Yes.
And that's another point that you make, is that some are only asking for you to come back and ask them. Didn't hear one thing you said. They don't even respond.
They don't care about what
They don't
said.
respond. So really that happened. They go, so my day was it? You go,
Yeah.
wait a minute, what about?
But that's that calculated thing he was
what about
talking
my day?
about. Every interaction is designed and crafted to get a particular response. A very particular response from who they're interacting with. It's never just conversation for the sake of conversation.
Yes.
It's never a compliment for the sake of a compliment. It's never a rose for the sake of a rose. It's all done with intentions behind it.
And it seems layered, because they layer in the charm. They layer in all the different characteristics are used a lot all at the same time to make that happen. So Psychology Today says the hallmarks of narcissistic personality disorder are grandiosity, a lack of empathy for other people, and a need for admiration. People with this condition are frequently described as arrogant, self-centered, manipulative, and demanding. They may also concentrate on grandiose fantasies, their own success, beauty, brilliance, and may be convinced that they deserve special treatment. These characteristics typically begin in early adulthood and must be consistently evident in multiple contexts, such as at work and in relationships. People with narcissistic personality disorder believe they are superior or special, and often try to associate with other people they believe are unique or gifted in some way. This association enhances their self-esteem, which typically quite fragile underneath the surface. Individuals with NPD seek excessive admiration and attention in order to know that others think highly of them. Individuals with narcissistic, and that's, I think, where the selfies would come in. That then gives you the room then to tell me how highly you think of me. Oh, you're gorgeous, you're gorgeous, you're gorgeous.
Thirst trapping.
I love your sidebar word.
Thirst trapping, yes.
So what makes a narcissist in those contexts is everything they do is designed to get attention. So, for example, you can tell a narcissist wouldn't, someone without narcissistic personality disorder, I'm going to say NPD, when they take someone without it, when they take a picture of their kids, they may post it on social media and say, hey, little Jimmy had a football game today, so that the other family members can see it. A narcissist, before they take the picture, will start to think, how many likes am I going to get? Click. And then they post it. Oh, look at little Jimmy. And then they watch. And then they hit ding. Ding.
That's true.
That's narcissism.
That's so true.
Ding. And they get a rush.
So, Shamika asked excuse me if I mispronounced your name. Is there a treatment? Treatment for narcissistic personality disorder can be challenging because people with this condition present with a great deal of grandiosity and defensiveness, which makes it difficult for them to acknowledge problems and vulnerabilities. Individual and group psychotherapy may be useful in helping people with narcissistic personality disorder relate to others in a healthier and more compassionate way. Mentalization-based therapy, transference-focused psychotherapy, and schema-focused psychotherapy have all been suggested as effective ways of treating narcissistic personality disorder. And one thing I read, and now I can't find the article, was that sometimes parents play a role in the building of this personality in children.
So parents play a role in both aspects. So remember, the two major forms of narcissism is grandiose and vulnerable. So how can a parent play a role in grandiose? So if little Billy was being raised as little Billy there is nothing more important than little Billy. When we walk into the store, if little Billy's crying, little Billy got to have what little Billy wants. And if little Billy gets in trouble at the school, it's never his fault. It's got to be the teacher's fault. And so you raise a kid thinking that they're God. And so when they grow up, they can't help but think, I'm God.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So that's how a parent plays a role in raising a grandiose narcissist. A vulnerable narcissist will be raised in a house where nothing's right. They can't do anything right. Vulnerable narcissists, they can't do anything right. You bring home 6 A's and 1 B, mama or papa will be looking at the B. You can't do anything right. So you're afraid, you're always being rejected at home. And so you start building up these defense mechanisms to rejection that just so happen to be narcissistic personality traits.
Yes. And it can swing back and forth. So if you are a parent or you're a child raised in a home where your parents go to one extreme or the other, where you're always protected, you can do no wrong outside of your home, but inside your home, they're hypercritical of you, or they have moments where they withdraw from you. You're always seeking that. So that's how you develop these kind of things. And there are therapy modalities to treat this. You don't cure this kind of you don't cure personality disorder. You just treat it.
You treat it. I know.
Do you know any? Do you know? I don't know.
Tucson say everybody in America's narcissist,
but to some degrees and levels, right?
Yes.
I mean, would you say? I wouldn't say
their
they're
personality
all
traits. Everyone has a personality. It's not the same thing.
It's not the same as everybody is narcissistic.
No,
is that we all can carry some of the same personality traits, but we won't be the same. We won't have a disorder,
right?
Within the disorder is the excessive.
Yes,
because I put a selfie today won't make me narcissistic,
no. Right?
Or
so some people can need attention or seek attention, but they also have empathy for other people.
Right.
That's. I mean, you have some balance to your personality traits, but I'm telling you, narcissists do not have empathy. They do not care. They can't fathom what you would be going through. They can't.
So as a parent, as a child with a parent that's a narcissist, do they feel love from their parents? What I wonder, what does that look like? What is they probably love their child as an accumplishment.
They love their child as an accessory for their life.
Accessory.
So when their child is doing really well, that is accolades to me. Kudos to me.
Look what I did.
Look what I did. And they never want, let me tell you an example. They never want their children to be anything other than perfection. So I had a situation where there was a kid that was sick. So the kid had been sick for months. Mom and dad had talked about it back and forth. They started getting the kid treatment, everything moving along. Talked to the grandparents of the kids, and nobody knew what was going on. The dad's side. Nobody knew the kid was ever sick.
So why would they do that? Why would someone?
Because in the grand scheme of things, any defect that this child has is a defect on me. So it's a stain on me and my accomplishments. Right. So instead of being a normal parent who's like, hey, I need my village to come in and help me with this sick child, that person is like, what do you mean?
I don't got no sick child.
I don't have a sick child. My child is fine.
My child
is perfect. It's in your head. It's not a real thing.
I get it. I get it. You are listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com, and we are talking about narcissism. Am I dating a narcissist? Am I a narcissist? I don't think anybody will actually go, that's me.
Will not
this
say,
is all about me.
There are questions you can ask people to determine whether or not they have significant number of narcissistic personality traits. And a narcissist will answer them honestly for you.
You think they would?
Oh, they will.
I really want to go back and...
They will answer them honestly. For example,
yes.
You can ask a narcissist something to the effects of, on a scale of 1 to 10, how intelligent do you think you are? On a scale of 1 to 10, in the grand scheme of things, how important are you to this to the world? And then you just wait and give a narcissist an opportunity to start talking about herself and just listen. And they will take it from there.
That is true.
And it will just go.
And you won't get a word in edgewise. They'll take it from there.
There is one example of this. I swear, as I was reading this, I was like, oh, this explains so much. Now, again, Tucson says everyone. We do agree. We're talking about
Tucson. How important are you in the grand?
Right. He's everyone.
On a scale of 1 to 10, my brother.
He's a 12.
That's my guy. Y'all eat
We're agreeing that everybody has some of these traits, but we're talking about the ones that have some excessive traits. And I have one friend who is one person who asked me to talk about this topic a while ago, and I hope she's okay with. I'm not going to name names, so we won't know. I know she may watch this, but people won't know. I think it is her. That this person, he would do things to her, and then everything. You made me hit you. if you wouldn't have said this to me, I wouldn't have had to hit you.
That's gaslighting.
That's called gaslighting.
What is gaslighting?
So, take it away.
Gaslighting is something that happens when you're dating a narcissist. Anything that they did wrong that you had the audacity to call them on, they are going to spin it and manipulate you to think either that you're crazy and it didn't happen, or that it was your fault. They responded the way they responded to you questioning them for doing some horrible thing that they did. Like, how dare you? How dare you question them? So Freud has a term called narcissistic injury. So when you injure a narcissist, that means that you've tried to puncture their grandiose or whoever they pretended to be. And then there's a term called narcissistic rage. So if I puncture you and you're a narcissist, you're not going to just poke me. You're going to cut my head off, because that's what you do, because I had the audacity. That's gaslighting. They make you feel like you're crazy, like you didn't see that text message, like you didn't see that email from that woman. Like, it is all in your head. None of that happened. They slapped you. Girl, I ain't slapped you. What are you talking about?
Or
you ran into my
hand.
Right, you ran into me.
Like,
you should be apologizing.
Your head ran into my elbow.
Yes.
How did ask for an apology?
Yeah.
I was like, how is he
That's
asking you for an apology?
Gaslighting.
She is dating a narcissist.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Run.
Yes.
This is the most dangerous kind of, to me, the most dangerous kind of behavior, because when they get into that rage, that's when they kill people. When they will beat you, they will do it. This is the dangerous part.
So let's go back, because you look surprised. When I trust us when we tell you the narcissist is dead serious.
Oh, absolutely serious.
They are dead serious. How dare you? He does not feel like he did anything wrong. Like, and you should apologize to me. Like, you really made me. You made me hit you.
You brought me out of my character.
Right.
You ever heard somebody say that? You got me out of character. Like, it's your fault.
How dare you?
You did that to me.
Yes, that is narcissism to the extreme. And the only thing I can say as a coach is run. Not jog.
No, run.
Run.
Take your stuff and never look back.
Tucson said y'all read too much. 400, I believe I'm a god. I do believe in God. I don't think you're a narcissist, though. I don't think. But
I think you could be both, Tucson.
Or maybe it's both. But I don't know. I don't know whether he is or isn't. Haven't looked that much into it. But
said women are born narcissists.
So 50 to 75% of narcissists are men, Tucson.
Jay Shan asks, can women be narcissists?
Yes.
And I don't believe women are born narcissistic. Narcissistic, we have traits just like you have traits.
Yes.
But I don't believe all women. Let's go back to what narcissistic, what it is, what narcissism is.
He's probably talking about the personality trait of selfishness.
Yes.
Okay, but a narcissist.
But isn't that societal? Just like why the men are narcissists, it's mostly societal.
But we're talking excessive. I think we're talking to the ones that are.
Yes, anybody can be a narcissist.
Anybody.
But it just so happens that 50 to 75% of narcissists.
You're just gonna keep saying that. I gotta defend my brother. You're just gonna keep throwing that stat out there.
Just throw that out there.
You're just gonna keep throwing that stat. There's no defense to it because it's true, but
it's true.
You're just gonna keep throwing that stat out there.
I'm just saying he likes figures.
If 50 to 75% are men, then 50 to 25 to 50% are women.
I agree with that. Those are the facts.
So my question.
What did he say? Won't be reading that. He crazy.
Oh, okay.
He crazy. So, but real talk though, are you dating a narcissist? Ask yourself this in conversations. Well, here's the one thing to ask yourself: is there reciprocity in my relationship? Is there reciprocity? And I don't mean tit for tat transactional. I mean, does my partner take a genuine concern for me or my day? There was one person who told me I don't have any cares to give. I
have a lot of cares today.
No, they meant for the relationship period. I was like,
oh, for the duration of the relationship. Oh, well.
I don't have any cares to give. I was like,
yeah, you should have went to therapy.
Whoa, like none? Like, no, I don't have any to give.
That's a trauma response.
You know how hard it is for me to be speechless.
So it says that just even though I hate the men and women, more men and women, because I just want to talk about narcissism as a whole, because both men and women are afflicted with having them in their life. But I will touch this because this is coming up in our Facebook chat for the people that are listening while I'm going to break it down. But I don't want to get heavily into more men and women because that's neither here nor there. If it's, I really just want to talk about the behaviors. But it says with Psychology Today that both men and women can be narcissists. Mm-hmm. However, the motivations of male and female narcissists are different. And that it does say that research over the years has shown that it is also more prevalent in men than in women. However, the behaviors of male and female narcissists can differ. For example, more men than women troll people online because it makes them feel superior to strangers. All narcissists share certain traits. They are defined as people who have a grandiose idea of themselves, which simultaneously mask their low self-esteem. They present an inflated version of themselves outward, which they believe is better than anyone around them. So they tend to treat others with contempt.
Yes.
They are completely self-interested and will only do something if they can see how it will benefit them.
Only. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, I cannot stress that enough. That is the only time you will ever get them to move.
However, what narcissistic people want to get from others differs from men and women, according to this marriage and family therapist. That whereas typically female narcissists are narcissistic about their looks, whereas men, it's all about power and control. Right. So,
which is why they kill you. So,
no, for real.
In real life, that's being serious.
That is why.
That's why they kill you. Power and control. The most dangerous time in a woman's life is when she's trying to leave a narcissist. If there was an article recently on Facebook about this 17-year-old girl that just got killed by her boyfriend, he would probably be a textbook definition of a narcissist. She had been reaching out for help. She had done the correct thing. She had gone to the police, gone to court, got a restraining order, all of that.
And also did something that I've seen my friend do at the time, because someone put this in the response and join the He Said, She Said group and join in the conversation. This article is in there that we were discussing today. Someone put in the comments that she did go and retreat or retract some things about him. She went to court at one time and did say, I just want to work this out. And both of my friends that have been in abusive relationships with narcissists have gone back. I mean, really tried to pull them out of jail.
That's the love bombing thing, right? And so if you let somebody break your heart enough, they will break your spirit. So if they keep telling you they're the only thing, they're the only person that's going to help you, they're the only person that ever love you, they're the only one, that's your life source at some point. So you start to believe that.
So let's dive deeper into narcissism. One of the things a narcissist will do, I don't know if it's unintentionally, but they will start to cut off other lifelines.
Absolutely.
So you start to notice that your friends don't come around as much.
Absolutely.
Your family doesn't come around as much. They sort of pull you to themselves.
They make you an island.
And if initially it feels good because they're on that island, you're the king or queen. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. You're the king or queen. But what that has done is you are now isolated. Yes. So when you go back and when you start asking for help, you look stupid. You look foolish.
They've given that charm to all your relatives, to all your friends. So they go, you sure he's doing this to you? And she's doing this to you?
They gaslight to everybody.
So they go, he's just so nice and he got so much for you. And so now you're going to say that he's hitting you? He's hitting you?
Yes.
And it doesn't seem like his personality.
He ain't that kind of guy.
He ain't that kind of guy. Mm-hmm. Or she ain't that kind of woman.
Right. Or she's not the kind of woman.
She seems so sweet.
She's so nice. She'll be making your plate.
Yeah, she seems so sweet. She talks, she sings, she's the love of your life. Child, please.
But I also see them as controlling too. The female narcissists I know are just as controlling in some degree.
The female narcissists are infinitely more manipulative.
That's a better word.
And it's infinitely harder to catch with the female. See, because male narcissists are drawn to power or control. First of all, for both, it starts with insecurity. Mm-hmm. It is how they mask their insecurities. So both male or female, vulnerable or grandiose, are all insecure. Which is why if you so happen to poke a hole in their grandiose, what you're doing is you're getting close to their insecurity, and they will cut you for that, verbally, mentally, or physically.
Yes.
So when you deal with a woman who is a narcissist, hers is about manipulation. She doesn't want you anywhere near her insecurity, so she will have your head spinning. You will literally think you're crazy. I'll never forget this. I was like, either I couldn't tell. I have dated a narcissist before, and I won't say at what point in my life, but I remember feeling like either I'm crazy, or you're ignorant, or you are just a flat out liar. And I can't figure out which one this is.
Oh, they're pathological liars.
Yeah, that's what I learned later when I broke away. But I was like, holy smokes, you were lying this whole time.
Yeah. Let me throw this in here, please. We're describing men and women narcissists for the sake of people recognizing them in their own lives, not for the sake of us pitting one against the other.
Right. Just so you recognize it.
Just so you recognize it. A man can recognize from the female perspective, and a woman can recognize from the male perspective when it comes to dating. But not for us to sit and nitpick whether, well, women do it too, men do it more.
Right.
They're not the point.
They're equally all crazy. They're equally crazy. Yeah. Right. So Anna, why don't you help us understand narcissism from what a male narcissist looks like from a female perspective, and I would love to share what a female narcissist looks like from a male perspective.
The whole point of he said, she said. Thank you, guys.
Right. Bring it back.
What is she gonna say?
Come on, Wanda. That's what I'm talking about.
I need a cocktail. Traumatizing for me. So this is my experience in dating a narcissist. A lot of love bombing. In the very initial, very charming, very smart, very grandiose, all these ideas, and they're gonna be this great person when we grow up in the world. And that isolation starts like real slowly and gently, and then it's like that mind game of like, well, they're not really your speed. Like you shouldn't really.
Why you hanging with them?
Why you hanging with them? They not really your speed. They jealous of us, kind of stuff. So then you find yourself on this little island. And once you get on that island and they know they have you, that's when the real abuse and manipulation starts. Because then you've given them the power over you. So now they're your only life source.
They've isolated you. So now they have the control.
Now they got the control. So now they're controlling the money. They're controlling the access to other people. They're controlling looks and children and everything else. And anything that you do to them, they're going to use all of those same tools against you.
It's so funny you say that, because I don't know if anyone knows someone in a relationship with a narcissist, but I'm telling you, everything you've listed has come up.
Yes.
Whether your friends, I don't know why she just said you got a good man now, and now she doesn't want to see you happy, and I mean everything you mentioned. Well, you should come out here to this state with me, and now you live here.
Right.
Oh, you'll always move to them. They ain't moving to you.
They never move. They will
never moving to you.
Hold on. Pause. If you don't know nothing else, write that down. You will always move to them. They will never move to you.
Yes.
So I've recognized every single thing you've mentioned. So James, what is it for a reverse?
Oh wait, I forgot one thing.
I'm sorry.
And they are chronic cheaters. They can and liars, and they have this very grandiose idea of self-righteousness, right? So I used to call the guy I dated, baby Jesus. Can you please? Is your feet gonna get wet today, baby Jesus?
That's exactly. You are Jesus' little. That's exactly.
I always used to say that, like, baby Jesus, please let your feet get wet today. Seriously. Come down, sorry with us.
Just, young Jesus.
So give me an example of what that person would say that would make you respond that way.
It was always they get to be very emotionally abusive, and so they nitpick you and they point out your flaws and your
on a daily basis.
They do it daily. So what they do is they eventually just try to kill your spirit. I had to figure it out. I was like, you will drown me for your own amusement, like for your own entertainment. You will stand there and watch me drown because it gives you the feeling of being better. It
gives you superiority.
Yes, it gives you the feeling of being better. And anything that you do to elevate yourself, they are going to knock it down, minimize it, make it.
It ain't that big of a deal.
It ain't that big a deal. That's just a little thing you did, and you. But on the outside, They're gonna praise you to the outside world because you are you're an accessory to them.
Yes.
So they want you to look perfect. You couldn't tell on Facebook, honey, we look picture perfect. But on the inside, this man is cutting me every day, killing my spirit every day.
So the males look very similar to the female narcissist. Straight up. So ooh. You took me there. I might need a little therapy again. Right. You took me there. So what a woman who is a narcissist, because I forget, women don't like using the word female.
Yes.
What a woman who is a narcissist looks or feels like, number one, they can do no wrong. Mm-hmm. So men, if you've ever dated a woman and it feels like she can do no wrong, you might be a narcissist, as Jeff Foxworthy said. You might be dating a narcissist. They can do no wrong, so they don't ever apologize, because apologies will kill their inflated view of themselves. So they can do absolutely no wrong. Number one. Number two, when they are caught when you ever have a conversation with a woman and you can see the moment that she realizes that she was wrong, and then she changes the subject. Yeah, buddy, you might be dating a narcissist. You can see and she be like, or here's what it sounds like when you finally hit a point where you like, okay, now I know you're wrong. Why are you yelling at me? Mm-hmm. Why you talk to me like that? You like.
So they become then a victim.
They start to manipulate, and you could say, I am talking to you. Mm-hmm. With the calmest of voices that I have. Mm-hmm. Well, why are you talking to me like I'm a baby? Okay, now I'm talking to you. Well, why are you yelling at me? So it will never get back to them. It will never get back to them. All of these things are defense mechanisms so that it does not get back to them.
This is such a scary thing.
It makes you think you're crazy.
They do make you think you're crazy.
You're like, because you're thinking they're so sweet. I gotta be crazy.
It's gotta be me. And they cut you daily. So not only do you think they're so sweet and it's gotta be me, but they intentionally make you feel like you're messed up.
Yeah.
And then they pull you back in. So come back with after cutting you. Will turn on the love or fake love. It says narcissists are not capable of really loving.
No, they're not love bombs. You're an accessory. You're never going to be a partner to a narcissist.
Never.
You will be an accessory in their life. And if the minute you mess that up or the minute you are smudged, you are done, honey.
Done. But you're done for a period until they rope you back in. So dating a narcissist is like being on the string of a yo-yo.
Yes.
They throw you out there because you have come too close. Then they pull you back in and here's how they push you away. They criticize the heck out of you for stupid stuff.
Everything.
You could come home and say, you know what? I just got a $10,000 raise. Just 10? Right. You know you deserve 20,000. You should have gotten 20,000. You be like, and you start thinking to yourself, I should have got 20,000. You no longer happy that you got 10.
They will suck
the joy right out of you.
Everything.
Right out of you.
Yes.
Oh, and now here's another one. They will. I don't know if I'm giving therapy. I don't know if I'm giving therapy or getting therapy right now.
Do both things. You can do it.
Woo, man. Woo, Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. My gosh. So again, never wrong, never apologize. Always manipulating, and typically a woman who's a narcissist plays victim so well.
Yes.
And last but not least, they lie through their teeth.
So all narcissists lie.
All narcissists lie because their entire life is a lie.
Everything is a lie.
Their entire life is a lie.
Everything.
You will listen. You will never meet the real narcissist. You will never meet them.
Oh, you meet them if it's in that rage stage.
In the rage.
In the rage.
In the rage.
I want to know that person, but that's the truth.
Yes. And they listen. Here's what's dangerous about a narcissist. When you meet them in the rage stage, they can do things you never even imagined their character was capable of.
Yeah, I think that's the point of killing people. I mean, Absolutely. Really, how many people will say that they never expected that person to do that?
Yes.
A male might kill a woman. A woman will try to destroy the male.
Absolutely.
So do you think narcissists, when you go into those and they start stalking you and doing all the
that stuff is serious.
That's
That's
very
power.
serious.
That is a power and control issue. You are taking their power back from them. That is the most dangerous time in your life, is when you try to leave a narcissist. And a male and a female narcissist, if they have children, they will use those children as pawns against you. They will either try to turn your children against you. They will use them in court. They will try to hold them from you.
Oh my God, will they use them in court? Male or female?
Male or female. They will do this to you consistently.
And you never imagined it possible. Never.
And
you never imagined it possible.
Nothing that you can do. There is not playing nice enough for them. There is nothing
you can do.
You keep trying different tactics. Okay,
there's nothing you can do.
Okay, I'm now going to do
You are in a war that you didn't know you were fighting.
You ain't know you was in a war, baby. You've been in war for about 10 years.
You've been in war for 10 years and you didn't know.
Not catching on.
You are in a war that you did not know you're fighting. And the worst is if you're an empath.
Yes.
The worst is if you're an empath, because you are trying to make peace as an empath.
Yes.
So Toussaint said, so all blacks are narcissistic.
Why you keep trying to lump people in? You need them in one nice, neat bucket or box, don't you?
Let's go for you, Toussaint. We're talking about the disorder. So yes, people have it. We're talking about the narcissistic personality disorder. So let's make this more take it to that we're talking about, because the people I know aren't what you're talking about. The narcissistic people I know, and I'm going to mention this, the one woman who asked me to do a show on this, and she was dealing with it, was with a man who needed her to buy things for him. If she didn't, then she didn't love him enough, and she needed to buy, and so she's always trying to help him. You be supportive. You supportive me, you do this. We're talking another level of just, I'm narcissistic because I'm black and all blacks need power. No, there are people who have this on a different extreme.
It's an extreme.
He hit her and said, you made me do that.
Right.
Look what you made me do. If you wouldn't have said this, I would have never done this to you. She's at the hospital now.
They can't control it.
And they can't take responsibility for it either.
Absolutely
They
not. They can't.
Listen, you know how we in the Facebook group arguing about take responsibility. Listen to me very carefully. Narcissists cannot. They can't take responsibility because here's what taking responsibility is. It's literally puncturing your own grandiose. They don't want anyone puncturing that grandiose. So you are asking a narcissist to injure themselves. That will not happen.
And especially for your sake, to have empathy for you, to injure themselves, to have empathy for you, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
They will manipulate and lie and create. Every interaction is about getting you back. They will use your children against you.
Yes.
They will use mental manipulation, emotional abuse, physical abuse. They're going to do whatever they have to do to use control to keep you where they want you to be, whether that's close to them or this much away. They want to control how far away from them.
She would ask me, am I wrong? I'm like, how could you be wrong?
Because they get in your head.
Like, oh my goodness. I was like, I would be, so y'all not describing black folks.
Stop reading his comments. We done with him. He must be drunk.
What meeting were you at, Toussaint?
I know what the sad part is. I know what he's talking about,
but this ain't that.
But it ain't that. I know what you're saying.
Explain that. Well, no.
No,
we're not going there. I don't know what you on today.
No, don't do it.
We described that people can have some narcissistic traits. So
Yes.
yes, can all black people have some narcissistic
Some cultures
traits?
can have no
cultures.
narcissistic
It's not a
traits.
black thing.
Yes.
Donald Trump shows us that it's not
culture.
Culture.
Cultures can have narcissistic traits in their culture. However, this is a disorder. This isn't a disorder. I'll give you here's how to look at a narcissist. Everybody in their world is in a movie, and there's only one star.
Mm-hmm.
And there are no co-stars.
Everybody is
an extra.
And you can't tell me
all black people
everybody's
don't have
an
empathy.
Extra.
No, everybody is an extra. And so this is how you know that when they have children and they will do anything, it doesn't matter in front of their children. It don't matter how it impacts their children. They manipulate their children. It don't matter if their kids need a relationship with their mother or their father.
It don't matter.
It's never about they're part of the plan.
The children are just
I know somebody that I'm going to take him. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to show him. And then I think about, do you know what you just said? How that will impact your children?
They don't care.
It's not part of. He's going to do this. I said he won, and I was like, what? It's like it was an autopilot, and no part of my children.
They're on autopilot.
Their life is autopilot. So they don't have that capacity. I have had somebody tell me. Now I'm an empath, and somebody asked us to explain the empath and the narcissist thing. But I'm an empath. So that means I feel everything very deeply. I connect with people very deeply. I love people very richly and very deeply. And so my spirit is always connected to other people's spirit. Knowing that about me and being a narcissist who doesn't care about any of that, but knows that those are the things that hurt me, he would tell me stuff like, I'm going to tell the kids you was a whore. I'm going to tell the kids you the reason we getting divorced. I'm going to tell the kids. And my babies was like 4 and 5. I'm bawling like, oh, no. And then one day.
You know what it's going to do to your children.
Absolutely. And the stuff that would be happening in front of my kids, I'm like, you can't do that.
And that's abusive. I don't.
Abusive.
That's not all black people are like this. You're not going to tell me.
That's abusive.
That's abuse.
That's not.
It is definitely abusive.
But they don't care.
They don't. They can't. I can't stress enough. It's not that they don't care. They can't care.
No. Yeah. Absolutely.
They can't. So here's what empaths do. Here's the mistake empaths make. Because I'm an empath as well. You try to get them to care. Yes. Like, how can you not care?
I want you to be a human.
Like you must, right? Like you look like a human, you smell like a human, you feel like a human. So you gotta. It is nearly impossible for empath to believe that another human doesn't care.
Absolutely.
So an empath is a person with the paranormal ability to apprehend the mentality or emotional state of another individual.
Yes.
So just for people
you literally take on other people's hurt, and you really take on their energy. So if their energy is pain and shame, you take that. You can sense it when they walk in the room.
You know,
an empath will always look around and say, "What's wrong?
Yeah, are you okay?
Are you okay?
What's going on today?"
And they won't let you say nothing.
No.
They know something's wrong. So they'll try to, hey, maybe we should just go bowling or something. They want your spirits to pick up because they can feel it deeply.
My pastor calls that being a seer. Like you are a seer. You see people's spirit and their energy.
You see
long before they even come through the door. You can see it. If you're really deeply an empath, you can see these kind of spirits even on Facebook.
You can see that. You can see it and feel it.
Their written words. Like you can feel that.
It calls you. I'll give you an example. A couple of days ago, my energy started saying, "Call your sister."
Mm-hmm.
Call your
sister. I went through one of his energies.
Oh yeah, I was call you. I was like,
is everything okay?
Is everything okay?
Yeah. Think.
Call. You just there's some people guys, we say there's a disturbance in the force, or my spidey senses are tingling. Something's off in the universe. Who is it? Mm-hmm. You can just feel that, and the reason narcissists are drawn to them is because for an empath, nothing's usually about you. Because you feel so many different
so you
energies,
can give them all that
attention.
You
can give them everything they need.
An empath will set themselves on fire to warm you up.
Trying to make sure they're okay, make sure,
and so you're giving
them all that attention that they.
I would set myself on fire just because you chilly. That's what an empath does.
So I'm going to give real quick some of the things it says about empaths are highly sensitive, so we can see the other half of this. Empaths are naturally giving, spiritually open, and good listeners. If you want heart empathy, empaths have it. Empaths absorb other people's emotions. Empaths are highly attuned to other people's moods, good and bad. They feel everything, sometimes to an extreme. They take on negativity such as anger or anxiety, which can be exhausting for them. Many empaths are introverted. Mm-hmm. Empaths become overwhelmed in crowds, which can amplify their empathy. Empaths are highly intuitive. Empaths experience the world through their intuition. Empaths need alone time. As super responders, empaths find being around people can be draining, so they periodically need time alone to recharge. Even a brief escape prevents emotional overload. Empaths can become overwhelmed in intimate relationships. Too much togetherness can be difficult for an empath, so they may avoid intimate relationships. Deep down, they are afraid of being engulfed and losing their identity. Empaths are targets for energy vampires. And that's what a narcissist is an energy vampire.
So being in a relationship with a narcissist, I call it parasitic.
Absolutely.
Because they latch on to you, suck the energy dry, and then go to a new host. Absolutely. And then when you recharge your battery, they come back.
Absolutely.
I had to tell a young lady, like, look, you got one more time to go in and out. If you do, deuces.
You just out, right? You just out, yes.
So she tried it. So she went out, and then it's like, hi, how are you? Are you okay? Hi, how you doing? I miss you. I want you.
Yes.
Delete.
Yes.
Blocked.
It says empaths become replenished in nature. The busyness of everyday life can be too much for an empath. The natural world nourishes and restores them.
Yes.
And then empaths have highly attuned senses. And then the 10th one is empaths have huge hearts, but sometimes give too much.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so you have to learn boundaries as an empath.
Absolutely.
Because what she said is you will set yourself on fire.
Yes.
I never used to say it like that. I was like, you give people your bricks to build to build their house when those are supposed to be yours to build yours. But you will set yourself on fire to warm somebody else. But you have to, especially if you're in a pastoral ministry or giving type of a ministry, you have to set boundaries because narcissists won't set them for you.
Absolutely. Givers have to set boundaries because takers never do.
Never do.
So Jay said, okay, so I am a mix between the two, a narcissist and an empath.
So you have characteristic or traits of both
right?
of them. So meaning you're a balanced human being.
Right.
Antoinette asks, can you be both?
Yes.
You're just
balanced.
But you don't have the disorder.
Right. You don't have the disorder.
You have balanced energy.
You don't have empathy if you're a narcissist.
Right.
Period.
So if you don't empathy, you're not a narcissist.
Right. They don't love. They have the inability to love. It's all about them. It's grandiose. It's huge, larger than life. So you'll know the people. I swear, as you listen to the characteristics, you can start thinking.
You got them lined
there's not going to be or can I be.
Right. Like, that was
wrong. So here's how you know here's how you can identify someone like that. So not only can a narcissist not experience empathy, they can't really experience love because the opposite of love is fear, and narcissism is based on fear.
Fear, absolutely.
It's based in fear, and they will never. Narcissists try to project confidence, but they will never tell you that they're terrified. And so everything they do is to defend their fear or to mask their fear. That the root of narcissism is fear.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Thank you, everybody who's chiming in on Facebook. I appreciate you all. You always add to the conversation. You're listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. I am here with dear Anna Nicole Lacey and our certified life coach, James Borshade, and we're talking about narcissism. And you guys have really been adding to it. Like I said, I appreciate that. At the end, we're going to try to give you a couple steps to maybe help you leave these situations. The two I know, one is not leaving that as a personality trait, just a disorder.
Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! That's what's up!
Come on in here, Tucson. This is the first time I think this ever happened where someone went from responding on. I hope you left that mic on. Talking to that mic and see if it's on for me.
Yo.
Yes, we did leave it on.
Yes, sir.
It was all wrong.
Wait. Before I bring you in, this is the first I think a Facebook. Someone following on Facebook has walked right into the studio and joined the conversation. He said he was going to come, and he's come. Many people ask me, and Daryl, you're on here. I think you asked me once. Tucson always comments, and he's here now today, so you can see him. So I hope he
that made my day.
Scoot in this way, you guys,
man,
so Tucson can get on the Facebook because I'm not going to go change it for us. So hopefully we can pull him into the Facebook.
Yes, Lord,
so you guys, this is brought to you by Allstate. You are in good hands with Allstate. Whether you need auto, home, or life insurance, you can call Sal. Please tell Sal I sent you. He can give you some quotes. Find out if you're on the right rate or maybe reduce your rates for you. Give him a call at 708-599-5100. That's 708-599-5100. We've been talking about narcissism, and are you dating a narcissist? I'm not even going to ask you, are you a narcissist? Because I don't think those people will be able to determine that. But to bring Tucson into this, Tucson has said that everyone is a narcissist, and we've talked about the traits of being a narcissist. So I'm going to give you a second to explain your point of view on this, because he says that we've been all over with this, and he's going to add to it. Please,
before you do, can I say that I've been on several television shows, radio shows. This is the first time I see someone call from the audience and walk into the studio. So I got to give you
That's the first for me.
We're going to play it out. But Wanda hit me earlier. I told her I was going to try to make it anyway.
Yes, we knew he was coming. But it was funny because you were commenting. I thought you were coming. That marathon here in Chicago has been a booger, and so we've had a few late arrivals, but I knew he was coming. So give us your take on this too.
I think when I say that everybody in America is a narcissist, I'm being honest, right? I think like anything, we're talking about mental illness. Narcissism is a mental illness, right? It's degrees though. It's degrees to anything, right? But the way America works as a system, it forces you into narcissism. It just is what it is, right? We create value around material things. That by its very nature creates a narcissistic behavior, period. So Facebook, Instagram, all that couldn't exist without a narcissistic culture. It couldn't exist without that culture.
That makes sense.
So if you're looking at this globally, I would agree with that. Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. If you look, Western culture is narcissistic by trait, which is why the other cultures do not want the West to infiltrate their culture.
Mm-hmm. Even when we talk about how many likes and how many and all these things, Facebook wouldn't exist without us caring about this kind of stuff. So that makes sense. Daryl said, if you are dating one, leave and keep all the evidence that you have, text messages and
hold on. Let's be clear now. You can't just leave.
No, it's a whole
it's like how do you get out of the mouth of a lion?
And so we're talking about, and what they're describing right now is the disorder. So yes, we are in agreement with what you're saying, Toussaint, that we definitely are a narcissistic culture to some degree, but the people with the disorder, the personality disorder, take things to an extreme. They have no empathy, not any, not some, not a little for these types of people, they have zero.
So let me, one of the things my brother does, I love that you look at things at a macro level. Today, let's look at this as a micro level.
But this is micro though, right? So again, it's context though, right? It's context. I'm married. How many of us know married people on Instagram and every picture is, look at me. That's the whole code, right? So even though you're married and living a what quote unquote should be a married lifestyle, you're seeking validation from outside of that union. We might not consider them people clinically narcissists, but it's that same behavior
that is narcissistic behavior.
It absolutely could be. But what I'm saying is so normalized, I read somewhere maybe a year ago, the narcissism is so prevalent in our culture that we can't even diagnose it as a mental illness anymore.
That is true.
It's so, because it becomes the normal behavior. It is what it is, right? How many parties y'all been to in the last year and seen this?
And they've not engaged in any other party.
Why you there?
The whole time, and then I'm at the party.
And then they don't even say that. They just got the music playing like, what is that? Right? And we look at it, don't even say nothing. It's because it's normalized. It's normalized. So that's a regular concurrent behavior in America. So we could, by degrees of clinical, whatever the degrees are for narcissists, like you said, power, and somebody gonna kill you and all that. Essentially, though, it is so prevalent that is our very nature at this point.
So research shows that 1% to 2% of the U.S. has narcissistic personality disorder 15 years ago. That number has infinitely grown and they haven't proven that social media is the catalyst for the growth, but they believe that social media is the catalyst for the growth. So I do agree with you there. I also want to make sure that we talk about and get people the information that they need to get out of a relationship safely when dealing with someone with narcissistic personality disorder for men and women, because it's not as easy as just walk away.
Why do y'all say that?
Because it's not.
Why though?
A male narcissist,
they're going to kill you.
Could kill you. Straight up.
They're going to do everything in their power to,
like, real talk.
This is what happens.
Could kill you.
This is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so let's put it.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Everyone I know that are narcissists, not everyone, these particular people are in abusive relationships. Like I said, with the one girl, he slapped her and came back and said, "Why did you make me do that? You need to go. See, you need to keep your mouth closed. If you wouldn't have done this, I wouldn't have hit you." And she was like, "I'm so sorry."
So
why did I qualifying that as just narcissism though?
No. He has all the traits.
Let's
go back to all the traits.
Right.
We're talking about the narcissistic disorder. So
the actual clinical
disorder. The clinical that he has all the, and we said everybody has some variants of narcissistic traits, but I'm talking this person of the disorder has every single, if I read every a boundary violator, shows disregard for boundaries, false image projection. Many narcissists would like to do things to impress others but making look extremely trophy complex. I mean, I need to go to the disorder though, because that's just narcissism. I'm going to go to the disorder because this person had every single one, not just a few, not just a. When I read that, I was like, oh my goodness, he does all of this to her. Or when I think of the female, I'm like, oh my gosh, she is all of that.
Yes.
All of that and then some. And I just thought, oh, she's vain or she's really arrogant. She's really, and I said, no, the disorder is that she did something, you so blatantly lied and then get so angry that not that caught you in a lie, but more turned it around that you did this. And if I would have done this, I was like, why lie? Why did you lie like that? And then just everything now, as I read, I was like, this is her. This
they
chick
cannot help themselves. They can't. It cannot be controlled. They're going to be pathological liars. They're going to be controlling. They're going to be manipulative, and they're going to be abusive in some front. They don't have a way not to be.
So the Facebook audience is saying, why can't you leave? You control your actions. Number one, it may not be easy to leave, but you can leave. So one of the things that we need to understand is you can leave. Yes, you do control your own actions. Yes. However, we're not talking about people with narcissistic traits. I'm not talking about leaving somebody who's arrogant.
Who's arrogant.
I'm not talking about leaving somebody who's vain. I'm talking about leaving somebody with NPD. You can't. I'll give you an example. There's a new book out, and I won't say the name of the book, where a famous celebrity who we all know was in a relationship with some if I say this, I'm gonna give it away, but with some young girl. And this young girl was dating a narcissist, a clinically diagnosed narcissist. And she tried to leave, and he almost killed her multiple times.
This is a famous celebrity?
Yeah.
That's what happens.
He almost killed her. A famous celebrity. If I say this, I'm really going to give it away. From the Chi.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I knew you said it was a young girl.
Right.
I have no clue, but
good. But he almost killed her. Almost killed her multiple times. She was, and you know what's sad? He didn't want her to go to the hospital because people would recognize her as being with him. So he was going to let her die because it would ruin his image.
And I'm going to say,
this is what happens.
So I was always shocked. I mean, I really was like, why don't you just leave? And one time he wound up, now this is another situation. He wound up in jail and I thought, perfect for you to leave. Come on. And I went and got all the people, domestic violence people to help get you out of this situation. She cried for him while he was gone. I was like, what are we doing here?
Because she has Stockholm syndrome.
And then people explained to me, because I just thought and that's when I realized wasn't built for it. And I went to get help to help me understand because I just didn't understand.
That's the same. Listen, it's the same difference as if a child is abused by their parent. Guess what they want? They still want their parent because they love them. Just because somebody don't love you back don't mean that you don't genuinely love that person. Just because somebody is mistreating you or abusing you or doing whatever, don't mean that they don't genuinely love that person. And they have been in love with somebody who is abusive on multiple fronts. You are without money because they control it. Believe that. You are without self-esteem because they have killed that. Believe that. They've isolated you. You don't have any friends. You don't have any natural supports. Who wants to go live in a shelter?
That's what but that's dating a male narcissist.
Yes. I don't date women.
That's
So give us from the he said perspective.
So from when you're dating a woman narcissist, it is straight. She will character assassination to anybody around you. That's number one. Mm-hmm. So you can't go talk to anybody around you because your character has already been assassinated.
She's already gone.
She's already done it.
He does this, and then people believe her because they believe women.
They'll
more
try
than
to get you fired. They will kill you all.
And she does it. She's so sweet when she does it. You should.
They feel sorry for her.
You should know what he's done to. She's the victim. And whether you go see counseling or therapist or whatever, and they tell you, look, you making your person out to be a monster, and they're not. Then the therapist is wrong. I got to fire the therapist. I need a new one. They need They need agreement.
5 therapists later. You're right.
No, I'm dead serious. They fire the therapist.
Been there. 5.
This is not If you've never experienced a person like this, you need to praise Jehovah.
I think that's why I never did the show when people asked me to do it on narcissists. I was like, I don't understand it. I just don't understand not just going. So I was like, I can't do a show on something that I just don't get. And that's why you guys are, and I had to go read up on it because I don't always.
But you know what, though, Wanda, I'm with you.
Get your
right? And I'm with you, and I know the diagnosis. I understand it, right? But here's my dilemma, right? And this is my dilemma whenever we talk about mental illness in America. The design by itself creates damn near every mental illness we address, right? So the goal of this country creates illness because the value is outside of self.
That's very true.
So even when you went to the specific entertainer, right, and he's going to do this and he's going to do that. Now I know the book and I know the stories. There's other stories in that same book about him entertaining sexual relations with men, all kind of other illnesses. And I'm not saying homosexuality is an illness, but his whole behavior trait is a pathological illness barometer. Right?
Yes, it is.
All down the line.
You check all of
I'm
them,
sick here. I'm sick here. I'm sick here. I'm sick here. Right? And we give all these definitions, and he has this, and he has this. If we paying attention to the culture of the design of the country, you can check anybody in any box for mental illness if you're being successful in America, because the absolute identity attached with American success breeds mental illness. It has to.
But not to the degree of a disorder, though.
No. I hear what he's saying. What he's saying is, though, to some degree, to be successful, you got to cut empathy off. So, for example,
well, they say most businessmen. The Psychology Today said majority of businessmen are narcissistic
and entertainers.
But it goes beyond just businessmen, and even now we're going back to Facebook and Instagram, right? Because think about this: we have a whole new swath of pseudo celebrities because of Instagram.
Yes,
right. So we say, yeah, this is attached to Instagram, but 99% of the people on Instagram are there for what? Validation. Right? I want to be validated, right? So it's the same mentality around some celebrity, right?
But help us understand then, you two, because you all explain it, understand it, and have dealt with it. What is the difference then of what Tu is saying versus what you all are saying? What is the difference in those people?
I think those are completely different things. You can have personality traits of something and not be on the extreme of I'm going to kill you if you leave me. Those are very different things.
Or I'm going to kill myself if you leave me.
That's what the woman does. I'm going to kill your children.
I'm clapping and doing breakdance moves.
But see, that's different.
If you want to go by.
That's the difference. But you deal with somebody with this kind of a personality disorder, they will kill you. They will kill their children. They will kill your children. They will kill themselves before they allow you to dismantle whoever they told the world they were. That is very different.
That is.
I like selfies too, but I ain't hurting nobody.
Right. So there's a difference between vain. So that's a personality trait. There's a difference of selfish, arrogance, but the gamut of narcissism is quite specific, and you will be checking
every box
7 to 10. If you get a person who can check all 10 of those boxes, not just run. Yeah, you're not just run. Now you have to strategically get away. You can't just run.
And it's not that simple.
And they don't. I helped her with the strategy. I mean, she showed me the cuts and stuff on her back, and then how he got so angry because she did something so simple. And I would go visit her, and we'd have to look out the window to make sure, because he'd get mad if you don't. And I would go, "Who just doesn't leave? Why would you?" And
she's conditioned, and she does. First of all, she's conditioned to be there, and second of all, what else is there?
Right.
He has told her day in and day out,
"You're nothing without me. You're nothing." He humiliated her. You to make her feel
that. Absolutely, and you're going to though, right, of America, right? Because who can tell you what your value is?
Somebody who can
somebody who has dismantled your value.
I'm not debating that argument, right? But we're looking at step 2 in the progression in my mind, right?
So step 1 is to survive. You got to survive it first, and then we could change the culture and the dynamics of the rest of the world. I got to survive leaving first.
Yeah.
So that's step 3 or 4 to me, right? And I'm saying
that's goes back to you're not being abused. That's
it goes back. No, hear what I'm saying. Hear what I'm saying. It's not speaking from a place of privilege.
Yes,
it is. You haven't been abused.
I've never been in that.
It's like arguing the Me Too movement.
Not that I'm better than
so again, you gotta. Okay. Again, it goes back to the culture of America. Right. No, because you get to the abuse part, right? I'm talking about birth, right? Birth, day 1. born, right?
Mhm.
And we consider it abuse, but it is the culture of America. So whatever that person who came to that state and said, "You created my value," they're already hurting because they've never created their own value. Right, which is the culture of America.
No,
let me tell you something. Hurt people. If that's not true, then relationship cannot be a mirror, and we all know that is true because you attract what you are.
No,
whatever that illness is. I'm sorry. Whatever that illness is that brought you to that narcissistic dude, you are harboring something in you.
We already talked about that. No, there's a difference. So there's a difference between you attracting the reflection of who you are. If I'm an empath and my job is to be a healer, then I'm attract sick people. Where I go wrong is allowing that sick person to stay in my space. I can heal you from afar. I can help you from afar. I can give you resources from afar. I am responsible for having the wrong alter experience with people. That's my part of my own accountability. That I'm not responsible for who's attracted to me.
The light attracting to the dark type is
that's a moth to a flame.
Right.
The narcissist is the moth.
Nah.
It's a moth to a flame. So I listen. We could debate about how narcissism began, but I think we've got about 15 to 20 minutes. I think it'd be a good use of our time to help people understand how to, number one, survive, and number two, escape.
Right.
Once you get into the spider web of a narcissist, you cannot. Here's what happens: you cannot just tear away from the web because the web is holding you up.
Exactly. That's all you got.
If you tear away from the web, you die. Literally, sometimes, and figuratively. So how do you tear away from a narcissist? You have to literally slowly pull one strand of the web off of you at a time. So for example, you have to once you recognize I am in an unhealthy relationship, one of the first things you must do is redetermine where you get your validation from. Because a narcissist gives you your validation and takes it away. So now, where do I get my validation from? Number two, you must reestablish contact with your support people, family, friends, and the gamut. You must reestablish contact. You must. And if you don't have family and friends where you are, it's time to start developing and building some. Number three, absolutely, positively never let your emotional guard down, because that will be used to get you.
Absolutely.
You cannot let your guard. Number four, you must now, at some point, you have to alert authorities that you might need help, or your people must be on standby to alert authorities that you may need help. Real talk.
So let me interject in that, because this is where we might agree, Toussaint. The culture in America is one that even if you call the authorities, and this is from my own experience,
they ain't done nothing to you.
If you call the authorities, unless that person has physically already hurt you in this moment, there's nothing that they're going to do.
You ain't dead yet.
You're not dead yet. He's allowed to tear up his own stuff. It don't matter if he threw it next to your head. It don't matter if the gun went off next to your ear. He didn't do it to you yet. And so that is one of the reasons why people don't. If you've ever been in a situation where you called for help, and it takes a lot of courage to get to that point to call for help, you call for help and help come, and they're like, well, there ain't really nothing we can do. So, and they leave, you are discouraged from ever doing that again. And so then you're on your own. So there is no worse feeling in the world to know that there is nobody on this planet that can protect you.
And that's what he wanted you to feel.
That's what he wanted you to feel.
And he's going to come right back to prove to you, or she, that but women, theirs is different.
The world just reaffirmed what they just reconfirmed what he's been telling you. There's nobody that can save you. There's nobody that's going to help you. You stuck. You here. I'm the only person that you got. That's it. You have to be a very strong-willed and determined person to be able to pick yourself up and leave a situation like that, because that person has sucked you in and sucked you dry.
So it says in such relationships, you'll be emotionally alone to some degree. If you have with a withholding narcissist spouse, beware of trying to win the nurturing you never got from your parents. It's not going to happen. Also, don't expect to have your sensitivity honored. These people sour love with all the hoops you must jump through to please them. So therefore, tips, this is Psychology Today, to ending the relationship with a narcissist is to don't fall for their manipulations. They will use every trick in the book to get you back. So be prepared. Narcissists also are really convincing. When you're ready to leave, they'll stick to your convictions, move on to be a more positive future. You have to stick to your conviction. I found that to be hard, though, for the people that need to leave. So that's a big one. Set limits. So since narcissists have no empathy, nor can they really love, you must leave them cold turkey and endure the pain. Set limits and say no. Now this may be hard because some of them will come after you for just leaving, but you need an exit plan. And with this being Domestic Violence Month, Jodine Basterdash is someone that I highly recommend. She's who I went to for my friend when I didn't know how to help someone with an exit plan. Not that they went with it. They went right back to the person. And I mean, it really plays out, but it takes sometimes someone up to 7 times she told me to leave. So she told me to keep the page because I was like, goodbye. I tried to help you,
but
I just was like, I don't understand staying, so I'm done. And she told me I couldn't be that way.
But they have so many layers of manipulation, and there's so many repercussions and fallout that can happen from leaving. These are people that are going to try to get you fired. These are people that are going to try to take your children from you. If you are already in a broken place, it's easy to look from the outside and say, well, why didn't you just do that? Because no one's threatening your whole livelihood.
So I didn't understand
your children. Yeah, but I'm just saying it's a common question.
It is a common, because it's like
no one's threatening that.
And we heard that in the group today. Just leave.
Right. And it's not that simple because there are lots of implications. If you take everything, they feel like you're taking everything from them, and they are going to be hell bent on taking everything from them.
And I guess for some of us on the outside, this is when I knew I was outside of my realm of helping. If they've done this magnitude to you, don't you want to run?
But then that magnet, it's not over.
It's not
the
over.
Running is the start. It ain't the finish. Trust.
You want to run, but you're not even sure you should run.
And where are you running to?
Because remember, some narcissists, you've been isolated.
So and they threaten your family.
Or
you can't run
that's
that's
super extreme.
Absolutely.
What if you just move to another state with a narcissist, and now that's the only person you know, and that's all you got in this state, other than workers, and you don't want your coworkers to know what's going on, because that could impact your only ability to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There are men and women who are in this situation.
And what this woman told me, because this woman came to me, who we're not even that close. I was trying to figure out, and she said she came to you because you're not her family. They don't really know the whole story, and she's coming to you because you're kind of removed. I was like, okay, so she gave me tips. So like I said, Jodine Basterdash, find her on social media. She really knows her stuff on helping people in this situation, being the friend on the outside or being the person who needs help. And then be kind to yourself, treasure yourself, be very kind to yourself, and know you deserve a loving relationship with someone who can reciprocate that love, was one of the other things for the 4. So I don't know. I don't claim to, that's why I said I need people who know more about this, because I've recognized more narcissistic people. I know, like I said, but at the same time, I don't know in dating how that feels, what that looks like. So, but as you describe it, I know people in it. Mm-hmm. So your tips for if you had some more tips for getting out, what would you say, Anna Nicole?
So I think that you have to make a plan, right? You got to have an economic plan for how you're going to take care of yourself, because those are the people who will cut off your money. If your money is together, they're going to go take all the money out the bank. Men and women do that to make sure you don't have a way to provide for yourself. You need to make contact with your friends and family again, reach out and just try to figure out a way to disconnect. It's really hard to do that if you have children with them, though. So if you have children, it's a different level of you have to be legally connected to a certain extent, but you need to create as much space between y'all as possible. Don't go back and forth. Don't do the text messages. Write everything as if a judge is going to read it, because probably 9 times out of 10, a judge is eventually going to have to read it. So don't cross no lines. Don't do no back and forth. We going out to hang out, maintaining friendships. As an empath, you're going to want to try to maintain peace. So you're going to extend $30,000 friendships, and you got to get to the point of understanding none of that is going to matter.
It's never going to work.
It's never going to work. There's never going to be enough compromise. There's never going to be enough. You cannot set yourself on fire enough.
So you got to let that go.
It's hard. That's hard.
Because you like, this is what I'm saying is reasonable.
Right. Exactly. Like, I'm giving you everything. Why are you trying to take from me?
I'm giving you everything.
It doesn't matter. They can't stop themselves. It does not matter.
So,
and I wouldn't believe it if I didn't experience it.
It's a nightmare. Like, this is literally like living in a circle of hell. It is a nightmare.
It's unbelievable. To those of you who have never experienced being in a relationship with someone who has NPD, what we're saying seems unbelievable. It feels unbelievable. You're like, okay, this last olive branch has to work because I'm giving you exactly what you asked for.
Never gonna be enough.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter. You have to cut it off and be okay. And if you're an empath, that is the oxymoron. That's the difficulty.
Yes. And there is a danger in this space.
You don't have to be. It's okay.
It's okay.
Oh my God, because I don't understand at all.
But there's a danger in this space when people feel like I've reached out, I can't get help. He was right. This is when people kill themselves. This is the moment that people kill themselves because I think, and I know for sure, you're probably gonna kill me. And instead of, and I have no outcome. This is it. So this is why it's like so important to stay on the mark about this is not something that you should take lightly. If you're dating somebody that has these personality traits and they have that abusive kind of personality, they're going to abuse you emotionally, psychologically, financially, and then physically. And it never starts with, I'm going to slap you first.
Right. Do you know what a narcissist will say when the person that they have dated has done the ultimate?
No.
She was just mentally ill.
Yeah, she was sick. I told y'all something's wrong with her.
So Melissa Lee said, and she also, I think you have a book on this too, Melissa, if you've never been abused, I'm happy for you. I used to talk a lot about what I'd never allow in a relationship. I became a victim, allowed every single one. Abuse is fueled by the voids we have as individuals. I had to learn me and become in tune with who I am and why. Abuse has so many layers. It requires willingness to be silent and learn from victims and survivors. And I don't mean, I'm not trying to say I'm better than, or I would hope I'm not coming off that way, or to sound, we're not saying that we just don't know it. I mean, that's why we brought people we don't understand it because we've never experienced it, but not from a point of saying, really wanting to understand and help people who are in this situation, because I'm running into more and more people who are dating narcissists and realizing that, and this is a month for some that have MPD, that they've been the true victim of this. So in order to be respectful or learn to understand abuse, it requires silence and the willingness to listen to victims and survivors, learn, be in tune with you, and be honest. So I'm hoping we're also taking a minute to be in tune with what you guys are saying and realize that one of us are.
Can we address John also? John is saying that we're talking about extreme narcissism. What we're talking about is narcissistic personality disorder. The other part of this is narcissistic traits or personality traits. There are people. Now, I do agree, all of us, every human being on the face of the planet has narcissistic personality traits. The disorder, or as some will call it, extreme narcissism, is what we're talking about. And there is a rising number of people who are what you would call extreme narcissists or have narcissistic personality disorder. And those are the people who are the dangerous ones. If you're just dealing with somebody with some narcissistic traits, we're not talking about, okay, you need to create an exit plan because they might kill you. What they'll do, though, is they will manipulate all of the situations around your life. Mm-hmm. So, for example, when you leave someone with narcissistic traits, they will let you go. However, they will manipulate everyone who knows you so that you can get the information that they kind of want you back. So they'll become really passive aggressive. And here's what I mean by that. So, for example, if a narcissist that you've dated and decided to leave and you've blocked on social media, but they're friends with your friends, they'll say something to your buddy like, man, did you know? And I'm going to talk from what the woman will say to your buddy, like, I just got this new business deal. Oh, and it's so great. And their hope is that it gets back to you. That's the only reason they're telling your friend, because they are intending for the information to get back to you. And what you have to let your people know is, I don't want to hear anything about her. Or I don't want to hear anything about him, because the goal of the narcissist is to see, can they wrap you in to push you back? Can they wrap you in to push you back?
So without disagreeing with none of that, I want to go back to one of the things I think her name was Melissa said, right? Mm-hmm. She said that abuse is fueled by voids within us, which is the same exact thing I said.
Yes.
Right. Now, if we're going to talk about narcissism, and we're talking about it working at degrees, right? And if we say 15 years ago, it was at XYZ%. And that's 15 years before the introduction of all of these social media websites where now this has become the normalized behavior.
It is.
And if this has become a normalized behavior in 15 years, what does the next 15 years look like?
We're in trouble.
Right? So, which goes back to Melissa's point, which goes back to the point I made in the beginning. Right? This is becoming the cultural norm because it is the definitive of what success looks like in America. Period. So if we're going to say, how do we fix this? Because I'm assuming that's part of the conversation, right? How do we fix this? Is that we got to raise healthy people. So abuse is fueled by the void within self, but from the abuser. It's the void within self. Agreed. So you got to come to the conversation whole. The only way to come to the conversation whole is to find value within you internally instead of externally.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Total agreement.
Goes back to the same conversation I said in the beginning. And we all are narcissists. You say, no, narcissists will kill you. In 15 years, we went from 15%. We laughing,
no,
right?
I hear where you're going with this.
We're laughing, but we went from 15% to, I'd say, 85.
So let's say, like you said, if it's on a scale on the scale it used to be here, with the invention of social media and things like that, is brought it up here. There are still people who are always going to be here at the 100% because they have the disorder. So I do agree, because when you look at what are the causes of narcissistic personality disorder are not yet well understood. Genetic and biological factors, as well as environment and early life experiences are thought to play a role. Then social media actually must play a role as well. And so
think about the lexicon before social media, though, right? Like the thing about statements that are so prevalent and just normal in our society, right? Who you gonna find better than me? That's not attributed to a narcissist. That's normal
now.
Yeah.
But it was normal 30 years ago. It was normal when we was teenagers. Let's be honest. That was normal. I'm the man, right? Or a woman saying the same thing, right? So these are part of our natural lexicon. Right? This is American culture. We got to be honest about that. There is no sign of sanity to assimilate into an insane society. Period. Now we could. It's like ADD or ADHD, right? It's the same conversation in my mind, right? We can't give them medicine. Add an H. We're gonna give them some medicine, right? But what's ADHD or ADD at that? Hyperactive disorder? Man, I'm not. I'm supposed to be hyperactive, right? But after a while, it becomes so normalized that we just doping up kids every day. Or he's sick, or he's sick, or he's sick. And we attach these behaviors as normal things. No, he ain't sick. He's bored, right? Whether you're a narcissist or not, to say, to deny the fact that you have some kind of internal impediment that attracts you to a narcissist is false. If it's a narcissistic person that's dangerous, that is false. The girl who's with with the celebrity guy.
Thank you for telling me who was.
The girl who's with the celebrity guy. If you heard the story at the first meeting, you would have been like, "What is wrong with you?"
Yeah, that's true.
What is wrong with you? And for her to come back for 34 or 40 meetings, something's wrong with you too. You gotta be honest.
But was she a kid? I haven't read the story.
It don't matter if she was 6. My baby would have been like, hold on, this ain't normal.
But your baby grew up in the house with her mother and her father.
But it still goes back to the core of the creation. The reason the baby, it ain't just mother and father. It's who's her mother and father.
I mean, absolutely.
Right? But I'm healthy. I just made the statement. There's no semblance of sanity. There's no semblance of sanity to integrate into an insane society. Yeah. But from my healthy position, I look out at the world most days and say, this look like the Truman Show. I'm amazed that the insanity just passes by every day as normal.
Oh, and it's getting worse. In 15 years, it's getting worse. And we can get into political debates if we want to talk about that, but it's getting worse.
Right. I mean, you just said it. Donald Trump is our president. That's normal. Come on, man. Are we kidding?
It's not normal. And we're talking about his behavior.
It's normal for a very large sector of America.
I mean, look at
and the only reason wait to say that, but the only reason it's not normal for us, because we could put a different color face on that, we would accept it. Please believe we would. We would absolutely accept it.
So let me say, I want to
Obama in another form is the same guy.
Who? Don't say that.
We can't say names on here.
Well, this is not the opinion of Intellectual Radio, but that of Tucson. Now go back and say the name, because I missed it.
The dude that was the president before this dude.
Oh, you think he's a narcissist?
It's the same.
You know how to disorder. Culture. I think he has.
He's just more articulate.
No, he has empathy.
He has empathy.
He has
That's
empathy.
That man killed more people than any president in the history of the United States. Innocent people.
See. Now let's go somewhere with this. And we might have to have some of this conversation off the people
We'll have to take
because he is quote unquote articulate,
Right.
and introverted. It appears he's an introvert. You don't start looking at the damage to policy, the damage that a lot of the policy is called. I will say this. In my timeline, and I better be careful because I have a lot of these political friends. Very few presidents have done as much damage as certain presidents in my timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd be surprised which presidents we talking about. Straight up. That's as.
But you have to be
Preacher is
narcissistic
PC.
to
I'm
be
trying to be PC
right?
in this situation.
The man got a Nobel Peace Prize and had more drone strikes on any people, innocent people in the history of American leadership. And he got a Nobel Peace Prize.
Because there's
duality in everybody.
Because B613 don't put that on TV.
The only reason I'm making this statement is because to compare and contrast the two. I'm not saying he was the worst guy in the world. I'm not even saying it because I know how normal the behaviors are, right? But if we really are understanding the world that we live in, this is what we are creating, period. You can't deny that. We could be mad at Trump because Trump don't look like us. But the dude before Trump was the same dude, and that's why they was mad at him. It's the same thing.
He wasn't. No,
Okay.
he wasn't like.
No, I don't think. Now let me tell you, I don't
that
think
much entitlement. He's never had the authority or control.
Here's
I agree with that too.
We've never been in worse economic predicament than since the Obama era.
Well, we're talking about narcissism and not the worse and better as far as what he does for our people. Better, do you think he has the personality disorder?
How did he talk to black people?
I don't think he has a personality disorder. I don't agree with all his.
I mean,
let me say this.
I'm not talking policy.
Hold on. Anybody that makes millions of dollars a year and will run to take a position that pays you 1/20th of what you make annually is alpha power.
Yes, absolutely.
Not to help people.
I think you help people. I think there's duality in everybody. That's not different. We're on a smaller scale, but that's not different than you being the CEO or me wanting to be the CEO of my company. I want the power.
When you could go for a non-for-profit and
you could
not worry about
you could just
money.
Sell T-shirts and lollipops on the corner if you just want to chill. That's
And
not
help
what you're
people.
doing. And help people, right? But that ain't what none of us are doing. So it's a smaller scale, but it's the same thing to me. There is a certain amount of power that you have to attain to make any change. I can't change nothing from sitting at home selling, T-shirts.
I agree. I think we need to address what Melissa said.
What?
Melissa said clarity. Being abused is no one's fault. And I will add, no one's fault but the abuser.
Yes.
People of all walks of life can become victims of abuse at any time. And I 100% agree with that. Being connected or in tune with ourselves is just one type of armor against abuse. It does not guarantee we'll never be abused or attract abusers. That is 1000% true.
And
never say I will never say I could never, I will never.
I do agree. But that don't mean you coming back tomorrow. There's a difference there. There's a difference there, right? You absolutely right. I could be walking down the street and attract an abuser. He can run up on me and rob me, steal, be whatever.
That's not the same.
That ain't you can attract. You know what? What? You can walk down the street and attract you can attract a woman who loves your essence.
If you from the hood, there's a statement that says if you act like a victim, you get treated like a victim, which in essence says I am attracting this energy of victimhood.
No, those are completely different values. That's completely different.
I will not let you say that.
Those are don't even make no sense. Go back where you're
at.
And I'm from the hood.
There's a difference in coming back tomorrow.
There's a difference.
I made the statement about the celebrity dude and the girl after the first experience and she showed up the next day.
Those are false analogies. They don't even make sense. Those are not. That's apples.
Absolutely makes sense
tomatoes.
Because it's an energy conversation.
No, it's not, because you saying coming back. Okay, I didn't read the book, so I don't know what's happened to the little girl. She came back and she didn't come back. So I don't got nothing to do here. But
she was trapped.
By
the time she realized that she was with an abuser, she was being abused.
It's too late.
She was doing some abusive stuff day one. She
might not recognize it as abuse day one. She was
trapped the day she decided that celebrity was more valued than her essence.
She was trapped long before that.
Now hold on a second. yes, that's true. But how many people how many people grew up in a home where they really truly understand their identity, their value, their essence?
I'm not arguing that point, but
otherwise
I'm saying that's the cure, though.
But
I'm not arguing the point. I'm saying that's the cure.
We agree that's the cure. However, I cannot say to the victim that because you don't walk around with the potion, it's your fault.
I'm not saying that either.
But that's what it sounds like you're saying.
But I'm saying that you have a responsibility.
You have a responsibility to do better when you know better.
That
doesn't mean that you know better instantly. You're speaking from a place of privilege because you have not experienced it yet.
And you better thank God you
have not experienced it. So you're speaking from
a place of privilege. It amazes me.
Be amazed.
How we analyze my history. You don't know my history. You only know what I give you.
I know that your energy
says,
by your statements.
No, you don't. No,
if you have had experience in this and you speak like that, you need therapy. Because
I can't. You're a narcissist. That you don't recognize it may mean that you're a narcissist.
That's why I can't.
Me and two always go here.
Oh, Lord Jesus. Young Padawan.
I came to see the show.
Oh, my God.
After the show, y'all.
No, this is part of the show.
I'm going to give you my passing out some more books on the bookshop to read. Y'all need some more. I'm going to give you some different books.
I had to Google what a Padawan was, nerd boy, but
we are out of time. This is his turn. We're gonna keep going with this, and we'll have to take this outside the room because our time has come up. So you have been listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. I really would like you guys, if you are looking for auto, home, or life insurance, to call Allstate. You will be in good hands with Allstate. Call Sal at 708-599-5100 and give him a call. Let him give you a quote. Maybe he can lower some of those rates for you. Also, if you like bling, I got the $5 holla. You like my necklace? Got tons more. You can go to Wonderful Bling. That's WANDAFULBLING.com and look at some $5 jewelry. Got the $5 hollers out there. How can they reach you, James, and where and get some of your help with this?
Go to jamesborche.com or circleurban.org or just Google me. That's it. She had narcissist. That's how. Just Google me. I'm everywhere.
Google.
You can find me on Facebook or Instagram and Nicole Lacey.
I can't help you with this. Here's what it is. Call me for something different.
That's my boy.
Letting that in here.
I can't help you with it.
Any of my therapist friends, please search him Toussaint Warner on Facebook.
Call somebody else who's going to sympathize. It ain't me.
I can't even help you with that. I'm sorry. Next subject. Next caller.
You get on my nerves.
And I'm going to send you their way, or maybe even the Journey to Wholeness Center if you need some help. Check them out. They're in Oak Lawn, 9501 New England in Oak Lawn. Give them a call. It's journeytowholeness.org. But I don't think anyone who's a narcissist is going to call. So if you're on the other end and you're the victim of a narcissist, then you can go get some help on how to get out of that situation. So we're going to keep this going. We are going to have a part 2 outside of the IntellectualRadio.com platform. We're going to move it on out. And and so thank you so much for listening. You've been listening to I can't even help you. He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. Thank you everybody on Facebook who chimed in, all the people who shared the show, Daryl, John, all you guys, all the names. I can't go back. Melissa, she has a book that can help you with this. This is the month for domestic violence. And stay tuned. We have a new show, Pretty Pillow Things, coming up at 5:00. Nikki is going to talk about domestic violence here on IntellectualRadio.com. I'll see you here at same place, same time on IntellectualRadio.com. Thank you guys.
Oh.